Hello and welcome to the Merle and Locke podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shape of how to put this banter like folks say, questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. Now, Locke, for today's topic, it's one that I feel like we could delve into pretty deep, or at least a little deep. Kind of deep.
Lay it on me.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
All right, just the tip. All right.
Anyway, no. So we just had our first experience with the Sea of Thieves, Safer Seas, right? For those of you who haven't played Sea of Thieves before, it's a pirate game and made by Rare Studios. And it's a really fun game. It's like an open world. You know, you explore. You would do these events. You do these pirate ship battles, and you hunt for treasure and get all this loot, and then you sell it off and get rewards for it. And there's a pretty heavy PvP aspect to it. Well, it's not like direct PvP. Right. It's more like you know you're exploring an open world, and there's other players around who can try to take you out and steal all your loot that you collected.
Of course.
Now, a lot of people do opt for that play style, like trying to
because
take
pirates.
out other people. Yeah, because it's a pirate game and what have you. But Rare decided that they would introduce this game mode for those people that weren't interested in doing the PvP aspect, and they simply wanted to enjoy the PvE aspects of the game, like doing the events and everything, and hunting and going on treasure hunts and doing the fishing and this, and not have to worry about other players coming along and killing them and taking everything that they've gathered thus far. And when it came to that, so I've been watching this, whole development on social media, and there's a lot of negativity.
Oh, shocking.
Yeah. People just going off about it, saying like, "Oh, you ruined your game. Now your game's not gonna be any fun," and this, that, and the other, saying like this is gonna ruin, everything for us. And
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The only people who make those types of complaints are the ones who like to troll after the people who just want to enjoy the game for what it is, as far as the going and treasure hunting and whatnot. And yes, you enjoy a certain aspect of the game. You enjoy the dismantling other people's hopes and dreams.
Right. Man, which, like, okay, no, I mean, I get it. I get the appeal of,
right. You want to be a scallywag. You really want to be the dark-hearted pirate who cares not for what he does.
Like, once again, like, I get it. I mean, that can be fun sometimes, just, like keeping your head on a swivel, try to gather your loot and hold it close, and somebody else comes along on the horizon, and there's like this sense of excitement. You're like, oh, we need to defend our treasure, let's fight them off and put them in their place, and I understand there's like that level, this underlying level of anxiety, being like, oh, I need to keep my eye out and constantly watch the horizon for other ships, and other players that may be in the area that might come after us. And yeah, that's fun. That's exciting. I like that. But at the same time, there's sometimes we play where we're like, let's just putz around. We want to do a couple events, try to get a couple of achievements.
Maybe do some tall tales.
Yeah, do some tall tales, things like that. And there's times when we're doing that, and then we start getting hounded by somebody, right? And like, even if we don't have any loot, right? And we're like, for the love of God, we're just trying to like get through this tall tale, and we have no loot whatsoever, and these people are just hounding us, like trying to fight us, and we're like we tried to put up a flare or something to indicate that like no, we don't we don't want to do anything. Like we're friendly. We're just trying to do things. And there's other times where we've confronted people where we've been like, hey, we're just doing tall tales. We don't have anything. We're just trying to get through this storyline. And sometimes people will be like, oh, all right, and then just let us be on our way rather than constantly coming after us. And there's times where, it got under our skin, right? And we're like, okay, let's mess these guys up. So we'll turn them out and we'll get into a big fight with them. And so that's been fun quite a few times. But then there's, man, like I'll tell you, the skill level of some of these players is just insane. Like there's some really skilled people that play this game, and like just they thrive in that PvP combat, and it's crazy like how quick they are and how accurate they are. And I mean, there's always the complaint people put on, especially social media, as far as like people are using cheats constantly, which I mean, like to a certain level, yeah, I agree that there are some cheats that people can use to be better, but I don't think it's as common as people make it out to be. It's just that there's a big skill difference most of the time, and it's insane. Like you see some of these players, like you can go all over YouTube and see people that are like really good in Sea of Thieves and able to take out like a whole four person crew by themselves, and they're just in a little sloop all alone. There's people who do really well in the naval combat aspect of it, where like there's a big argument as like naval wins battles, right? Where like if you can get your naval skills on point, then you could win most of the battles. Now I do like that aspect. I like the naval combat aspect of it. The only thing that screws us over is when we get somebody that boards our ship, right? That
Yeah, the borders.
yeah, that's hard to deal with, and it's a big strategy, right? Because it throws everything, the whole process. Like you could be like killing it in the naval warfare, like you're maneuvering, you're set up for your cannons and everything to get good shots off, and you could be absolutely killing it. But as soon as that other ship, they're just like, we're going to be screwed if we don't send somebody over, and they'll blast someone over to board our ship and then just cause chaos. That's all they're there for, is to cause chaos. And
Yeah, if you have, say, your two ships facing up against one another and both teams are pretty well balanced to, you got your Bill Dread, your captain who's steering the ship, your people shooting cannon fire. If all that is being well taken care of, then you'll just end up in a draw. So then you're like, well, now we're out of cannon fire. We have no more cannons. We've done it. We've been there. And it just became a standoff of running into each other, trying to chase each other off the map.
Yeah. We have been in that situation. We've also been in a situation where we were doing. There's this certain thing you can do on your ship now, where like you queue up for a small PvP battle, right? Where it like you queue up for it, and then it transports you to another server to take on these other people that had queued up for that battle, and it like sets a boundary around you. You can see it on your map, like the boundary in which you're able to function. And if you go outside the boundary, then you'll lose. But you stay in that boundary and you fight that one other ship. Now this is on a server, so there's other ships that could be on the server that could just come join in if they wanted to, and you'll just have to deal with it, right? As long as you take out the opponent that you've been pitted against, then you'll be good as gold. There was this one time where like I was really excited about it, and I wanted to do that game mode where we just queued up for a little PvP battle. and I was talking to, it was you, and I think it was your nephew. We was playing with us, and I was telling you guys like some strategies I wanted to try to achieve for the battle, some things I wanted to do, and I wanted to get our naval combat on point, right? Because that's the part I love. I love doing that and trying to set that up. And we got into it, and we got queued up, and we started this battle, and we started going at this guy or at this other crew, and we were 3-man crews, a brigantine and a brigantine going against each other, and yeah, that's pretty much what we did was just naval warfare the whole time. And what happened was that it went on for so long because nobody was boarding each other, right? Like we weren't boarding each other. We were just doing strictly naval. And yeah, what happened was that we had more cannonballs, and it was just a battle of attrition where like the opposite team, they ran out of cannonballs, so that they started trying to like ram us and stuff.
I do believe at that point we even snuck aboard, grabbed a couple of their cannonballs, or tried to grab a couple of their cannonballs and sneak back.
Ultimately, yeah, it was just like, yeah, they ran out of supplies, and we had a little bit more supplies, so we were able to beat them during that confrontation, and that was really exciting. Like I love that. Like my anxiety was through the roof. I was trying to like be everywhere all at once. Like I was trying to steer, trying to change up the sails, trying to adjust those sails to trim them and whatnot, so we can get angles, and it was just a good time, and I loved it. And I've also done, like, they've done away with this game mode. It was called the Arena, where it was just specifically for PvP, where it would pitch you up against, however other many ships. I don't remember how many ships would go into these battles, but everybody would have, like, there'd be different colored teams, and the goal was to get onto these islands real quick, grab a treasure chest, and then go turn it in the middle of the arena. And like you could fight the other ships, you could steal their loot. Sometimes people would try to get in the center turn in, and they would just like kill people as they tried to turn in. yeah, the campers and what have you. It was good fun, and like I only tried it a couple of times. And I was playing with these guys that I had met who were just like insanely good at the game, right? They were just like younger dudes, and they were kind of, they were a little trolly at times. They're just like mess with people, and just completely crap on everyone. But like just being on that end of it was very enjoyable, right? I got a taste for it,
Of course.
Because like I'm usually on the other side where we go against these like cracked out kids and whatnot, and they have these Adderall riddled children that just absolutely destroy us. And I'm like, how is it possible? Like, your reaction time is insane. Like, how could you possibly do this? Like, I don't know. Like, oh God, like it would drive me crazy because I just could not achieve that level of like reaction. And it was a little frustrating, like I tried to be preemptive about things, tried to plan for certain eventualities. And so I wasn't always reactionary, because when I tried to be reactionary, I would get myself killed.
Right.
Naturally. And it's very difficult to do anything in that way. So, but just trying to stay a step ahead of these people who could just react to situations like in the blink of an eye, it's just the most frustrating thing in the world.
I had never played arenas, but what you've been telling me, it sounds mentally exhausting, like
it
sensory overload.
Exactly.
I'm gonna need a good old nap after all is said and done.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it is very exhausting. I know it's just a video game, but proving myself up against like other like actual people is just, it's very anxiety inducing, and I'm trying to perform at my best, and yeah, it's very exhausting to try and deal with, especially if I want to go in to the Sea of Thieves, and it's a beautiful game. It's a lovely game, and it has like these PvP aspects are amazing, and they've done so much work to these different aspects of this game. And I like sometimes I just want to go in and enjoy those. I don't want to deal with the harassment. I don't want to deal with these other people that are constantly trying to hound you. I just want to go in and enjoy the game. And when they introduced this safer seas, it created this chance to do that. Like, I could go to higher seas if I wanted to. Like, if I really want to like sink my teeth in and get the full experience, because there's a lot of different aspects that don't carry over to safer seas, but rather stay in the regular PvP, PvP PvE area of the game, which is completely understandable, and that's completely reasonable. But if you just want to relax and enjoy the PvE elements by themselves and do some events, then you can do that on the safer seas. So it frustrates me that it has created so much discontent for some people that play that game, because I mean, it's still there. Like, they didn't take it away. I know they took Arena away, and I know a lot of people are upset about that. But they didn't take PvP away entirely. They just like create a little subsection for people that just don't want to deal with other people, and they just want to like putz around. They created that for their players because they care about their players, and they tried to cater to all the different players that play that game
and their play styles. Yeah,
yeah, and I applaud them for that, for going through all that effort to make that possible for people. Like, I'm not gonna quit the whole PvP PvE area entirely. Like, I'm just very relieved that I can actually chill out when I play that game.
I do have some nitpicks on the new safer seas.
Okay, all right, let's hear it.
So one of the major nitpicks that I have is the ability to use the sovereigns to quick sell all of your items without having like there's some degree where I get it, right?
Yeah,
I get the
yeah.
sovereigns were more introduced along with the captain ships, and with the safer seas you can't use your captain ships, as we had found out.
Yep.
Which I kind of understand that, right? Because if you're in the safer seas, now you're able to easily get all these accommodations attached with your ships, and they want to present a little bit more of a challenge. Make you feel like you really earned the things that you achieved with that ship then. However, if there was a way to establish you being able to use the sovereigns in the safer seas, have a little bit of an idea how it could work for those that would be like, well, that just wouldn't work. So what if there was some system to say that you reach a cap, and then you go, okay, now you've unlocked the sovereigns. Make them some sort of unlockable other than a captain ship, because clearly you can't have a captain ship.
I think Locke here is just, frustrated with the fact that when we were ending our session
Oh my god.
last night, played Safer Seas, the amount of loot that we had was insane, because we just kept doing events.
Yeah.
And we got all this loot accumulated, and we couldn't go.
It was so much fun to collect all this loot and do all these events finally that we've never been able to do. But the turn-in was terrible. It took us well over a half hour.
It took forever to turn in, because we had to do it the old school way, which is you have to take each piece of loot to every particular faction or whatever, whether it be the gold hoarders, you have to turn in your treasure chests and whatnot. You got your Order of Souls, which you got to turn in all your skulls that you collected. And then you got the Merchants Alliance, who you got to turn in like all the, produce and supplies and commodities, that type of stuff, you turn into them. And when they came out with the captain ships, which is like a ship that you can purchase with in-game currency. You pay a lot of in-game currency for a ship that you get to name and call your own, and there's like all these stats and stuff you can and commendations you can achieve with your ship, like by doing different things, different activities. And as a perk to that, having your own captain ship, you get to use these people called the Sovereigns, which are in the opposite end of the island usually, where you pull up to them and you can just harpoon everything off of your ship, and then you can turn in all the treasure to one person that's standing right there, and it'll divvy out to all the other factions. So all you have to do is, it's very quick. Like, it cuts down the time required to sell things by like, oh god, like a very substantial amount. Like, usually I feel like the amount of time it took to turn all that stuff in last night took us like well over 30 minutes to turn everything in its entirety. If we were able to do it with the Sovereigns, it probably would have taken less than 5 minutes. So that's how substantial it is, and it's a big boon to the higher seas, the regular game mode, simply because you don't want to be a sitting duck.
Yeah.
You don't want to be sitting there trying to turn in loot, and somebody just decides to come on by and destroy your ship and kill all your crew and steal all your loot. So it's a big boon for that, but in the safer seas, you don't have to worry about that.
Right, which is another thing why they're like, oh, well, you don't really need the Sovereigns, because there is no immediate threat from oncoming players. But I'm going to admit something to you here, Merle, that I did not admit to you last night.
What's that?
I was starting to doze off in the process of walking treasure. I started running into rocks and things. I had my eyes shut, and I quick opened them back up, and here I am just kind of walking right into it. And I'm like, this is terrible. It is just...
I mean, okay, so obviously there's a lot of complaints going on about the safer seas, but I think it's going to be amazing, and give people a chance to relax a bit and get back into the game and get interested again, and then maybe they might migrate back to the PvE PvP, for that little bit more excitement and some other events that you're not able to do in the safer seas, and just altogether, like, all the perks and boons that you have with that. I think it's gonna be really good for the game.
I realize safer seas and the high seas, these are new concepts, new things being tried out by their community now, so now they're going to get all the feedback that they need and decide where they want to take these concepts from there, whether they want to introduce the Sovereigns or whether they're going to introduce something new.
Yeah, well, the awesome thing about Sea of Thieves is that it's constantly evolving. It's like, as they're able to figure things out, get things stabilized, getting, recommendations from the community and what people would like to see. Like, they constantly evolve the game, and I love to see like all the different directions that it goes. And I'm excited to see what kind of impact this has on the Sea of Thieves community as a whole. I know there's the trolls out there that are just causing a fuss all over social media and whatnot, but I mean, I think Rare is wise enough to ignore them, because these hateful pricks just need to sit back and actually consider it for a while, rather than just going off the handle for no reason whatsoever. But we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Thank you for joining us on the Merle and Locke podcast. If you enjoyed this banter, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke, or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.